And thank you for joining me today. If you've been following the recent developments in the federal government, you'll likely heard about Trump's administration buyout offer to certain federal workers. It's been making headlines due to financial incentives, potential career transitions, and a swirl of questions about legality and funding. Whether you're a federal employee thinking about your next move or simply curious about how these changes could affect government operations, you've come to the right place. Today we'll examine why more than 20,000 federal workers have already accepted this offer, what the buyout entails, and what it might mean for the future of public service as we know of it. First, let's explore the financial incentives that are encouraging some employees to step away from the security of a federal job. Under this buyout deal, workers who resign by the end of February 2025 will continue to receive their full salary and benefits until September 2025. In practical terms, that amounts roughly 8 months of pay and benefits without any requirements to work. That's an enticing safety net for individuals who may be ready for a career shift, but who are hesitated to lose their steady income and comprehensive benefits that federal employment provides. But that's not all. Federal employees who have built up a significant amount of annual leave will receive a lump sum payment for any unused leave they have occurred. This can be especially appealing to long tenure workers who haven't taken much time off, effectively turning their leave balances into an immediate windfall. When you combine the several months of pay with a lump sum of unused leave, it's easy to see why some employees consider this a golden opportunity. While money is a compelling factor, the buyout offer has aligned with the personal aspirations of some federal workers. Over time, people's interests and goals can shift. The daily routines that once felt comfortable and secure may start to feel limiting. Some employees, particularly those who have been in the same position for many years, see this as a once-in-a-lifetime chance to hit the reset button on their professional lives. If they've been contemplating a new career, perhaps in technology or education, healthcare, or even starting their own small business, this financial cushion offers a bridge to make the change without plunging into immediate financial stress. Moreover, the buyout can serve as a graceful exit for those who may not be fully satisfied with the direction the agency or the administration is headed. If someone was already feeling restless or unfulfilled, an offer that pays them for 8 additional months and includes a lump sum for unused leave might feel like a strong endorsement to follow their dreams. In this respect, the buyout has become a catalyst for personal reinvention, allowing federal employees to realign their professional paths. Another critical element is the chance to explore new jobs, including positions in the private sector, while still receiving government pay until fall of 2025. The Office of Personnel Management has openly stated that employees who accept the buyout can look for jobs outside of the government without jeopardizing their remaining federal compensation. This is incredibly appealing to those who have long thought about exploring opportunities that might offer higher salaries, more flexible schedule, or a completely different working environment. In essence, these workers can spend valuable time rethinking their career objectives. They can take courses to sharpen their skills, enroll in specialized training programs, or even seek entrepreneurial ventures, all while receiving steady income from the federal government. When you eliminate the immediate pressures to secure a paycheck, it allows for a more measured and strategic approach to a career pivot. This buffer period could be the launching pad for an entirely new profession. The trajectory, which is a point that should be not overlooked. For some employees, another motivator is the possibility of avoiding future workplace changes mandatory by the administration. The federal government has signaled an interest in shifting employees back to the full-time on-site work instead of remote or hybrid setup. Although some workers thrive in office environments, others might prefer the flexibility of telework or hybrid model. The idea for returning to a rigid daily commute and the potential for stricter oversight may push some employees to say, I'll take my 8 months of pay and find a more flexible job. Beyond the changes to work arrangements, there's talk of downsizing or recognizing certain federal agencies for employees who worry about the stability of their positions or dread a future pink slip. Preemptively accepting a buyout can see as a proactive move rather than some people prefer to control their own destiny by resigning on their own terms. They retain a sense of urgency and can plan the next step with more certainty. Speaking of downsizing, it's no secret that the administration wants to reduce the federal workforce. In fact, the stated goal is between 5 to 10% reduction, potentially saving up to $100 billion annually. While this move is touted as a cost-cutting measure aimed at streamlining the government's functions, its undeniable raises anxiety among current workers. If your agency has already signaled potential layoffs or reorganization, it might be easier to accept a guaranteed 8 months of paid administrative leave, rather than rolling the dice on what could happen in the next 6 months or year down the line. There's also a mention of enhanced standards of suitability and conduct for employees who choose to stay. Some might interpret that as a crackdown on federal employees whose views or performances do not align perfectly with the current administration's priorities. Whether or not these fears are justified, it can create a workplace environment charged with tension. Employees might decide that it's simpler and less stressful to exit under favorable financial terms than rather remain in an uncertain situation. The numbers over 20,000 accepted so far. As of now, more than 20,000 federal employees, about 1% of the entire federal workforce, has opted to this buyout offer. These numbers may grow as the February 6, 2025 deadline approaches. From the administration perspective, this is a good start. Although it's far from the hope of a range between 100,000 to 200,000 buyouts, those higher figures would represent a more substantial downsizing effort in line with the administration's broader goals. Nonetheless, 1% of the workforce is not insignificant in the large federal agencies. This can amount to thousands of positions that will need to be backfilled, adjusted, or eliminated entirely. Whether the staff reduction will cause significant disruption to public service depends on how well each agency can adapt. In some areas, losing experienced employees could mean setbacks in the critical government functions if replacements aren't hired swiftly, or if the institutional knowledge is lost. The legal concerns and the criticism. Despite the administration optimism, not everyone is on board with how this buyout has been structured or financed. Unions, for instance, have been vocal in questioning the legality of using public funds in this manner. They argue that paying employees who are no longer actively working could be seen as wasteful or even an abuse of authority. Moreover, some lawmakers are calling for investigations to ensure that the money allocated for these buyouts was lawfully appropriate and the policies does not violate any existing regulations. Beyond the legality, there is also concern about what this means for the quality and continuum of government services. Many of the employees opted out could be seasoned veterans who carry with them a wealth of experience, particularly in specialized fields. Critics point out that losing such expertise in large numbers could have long-term effects on the government's efficiency and effectiveness. Others interpret the buyout as a push to remove employees who might not align with the administration's policies, raising ethical questions about impartial public service. Looking ahead, the implications of this buyout go beyond just temporary reduction in staff. If the administration succeeds in downsizing agency by 5 to 10%, we may see a shift in how federal programs are managed and executed. Some proponents of smaller government argued that this encouraged private sector solution to fill gaps once handled by federal employees. They see it as a spur for the innovation, allowing new organizations, public-private partnerships, and nonprofit or private companies to raise and address these issues traditionally managed by the government. On the other hand, a significant reduction in manpower raises valid concern about gaps in the oversight and the consistent delivery of essential services. From environmental inspections to public health programs, cutting too deeply could lead to slowdowns in the response times or reduce effectiveness. Therefore, we should take a forward-thinking view of whether and how these gaps might fill the responsibility. It may involve new contracts, advanced technologies, or entirely re-imaging models of public-private collaboration. When these incentives, a large segment of the federal employees remain skeptical and choose to stay, some wonder if the buyout is legally sound, fearing a scenario where they accept the package only to discover later that the political or legal challenges might be invalidated. Others prefer the stability of remaining on the federal payroll long term, especially if they are close to qualifying for retirement benefits that won't fully vest in their leave too soon. Career progression within the federal system is also a draw for many. Over time, dedicated public servants can climb the ranks, lead major initiatives, and influence policies on the national scale, opportunities that may not be readily available in other sectors. For these individuals, the unique rewards of public service outweigh the short-term financial windfall of the buyout. At the end of the day, the decision is to accept or decline this buyout depends on the myriad of personal and professional factors. Federal workers must weigh their financial situations, career goals, tolerance for uncertainty, and personal convictions about public service. While 8 months of pay may seem generous, it's not one-size-fits-all solution. Some will thrive by taking the offer and using the cushion to jumpstart a new career or business, while others will remain in the federal workforce, driven by passion for service or concerns about the offer's legitimacy. As of February 6, 2025, the deadline draws near. We can expect more discussions, more heated debates, and likely more legal and ethical scrutiny. Agencies will be forced to adapt if the larger numbers of the employees resign. Reorganization teams and potential reshaping how federal services operate. In the bigger picture, this may represent a new way of downsizing or restructuring the public sector, a model that could set the stage for future administrations looking to streamline government operations. Ultimately, this buyout is not just a financial package, it is a crossroad for federal workforce and the government as a whole. Those who accept it will forge new paths, carrying their expertise to the private sector or entirely different fields. Those who remain will be responsible for shaping the new chapter of public service, potentially facing tighter scrutiny and fewer colleagues, but also wielding the chance to innovate from within. Thank you for tuning in and exploring this pivotal issue with me. Now I'd like to hear from you. Leave a comment as we keep the conversation going. Share your thoughts on whether the buyout is a savvy opportunity, a risky proposition, or a strategic move by the administration that will have long-lasting effects. Let's continue this dialogue and envision what the future for public service could look like in the coming years. And thanks for watching.